while maintaining and protecting your hair. Honey, Lock and Love is an experience. Once you try Lock and Love Salon, you won't try anyone else. Lock and Love offers starter and maintenance locks, fox locks, detox, shampooing and conditioning, lock treatment, lock extension, coloring, and much more. Sorry, but Lock and Love doesn't accept walk-ins. What are you waiting for? Call 410-970-3791 to set up your appointment today. Lock and Love is on Facebook, so remember to like, follow, and share.
All right. Well, there was going to be a little disclaimer that comes before that. Trivia's Inspirational Radio is not responsible for the thoughts and opinions of our audience and viewers. So if you hear something out there and you don't agree with it, it has nothing to do with Trivia's Inspirational Radio, okay? So we'll be nice, all right? Welcome to the Power of Your Story. I am so excited to be here today. I have some amazing women who I actually just met. So I am your host. I am the host of The Power of Your Story. I'm also the CEO and founder of PayProV Publishing. And PayProV is pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there is no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I'm all about the story. I am all about the story. I absolutely love helping people take their stories from a thought to a realization, because guess what? And I know you ladies already know this, that 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. And I'm all about the story because there is always somebody waiting on the other end of your story so they can get healing from their story. Because see, they may not know that it's your story that they're looking for. They may not know that it's my story, but you know how sometimes you wake up and you're feeling blah. That's my word when I can't even describe how I'm feeling. I'm just not feeling great. I'm feeling blah. Nothing really hurting. I'm not upset. Nobody has upset me. I just feel blah. And then, I'm a Christian, so I read my Bible and I go through that process, and I still feel like I'm needing something. And then I might read your story, Connie. I might read your story, Julia. I might read your story, Christine. And then it starts to lift my day. And I'm like, wow, this is just what I needed. It's just what I needed, because we cannot live in this world by ourselves. So that's why I love the story. That's why I'm all about the story. So for me, as a victim of medical childhood trauma at the hands of a nurse, I don't know a day without pain. In 49 years, I don't know what a day without pain looks like for me since I was 4 years old. So I do all this because I know that there's somebody who feels like they can't go one step further. They can't move. They just can't. But I'm here to tell you, yes, you can, because you become what you focus on. So today, with that being said, I had that was a whole mouthful. I had to get that out, right? So with that being said, I am so excited to introduce these amazing women to you. And I'm excited too to be working on a project with these women for the first time. And isn't it wonderful how doors open and how people come together? Isn't it wonderful how people come together? So I'm going to give you guys a chance to, because I can talk I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves. And so I want you to tell us who you are, tell us where you're from, and tell us what you do. And then we're going to dive into our conversation today, my 2 cents as it relates to self-care or self-love. So Julia, I want to start with you. Did I say it right? Because y'all listen. Y'all know everything. I tell on myself. Do you know her name is so pretty? Do you know I mispronounced her name? Wrote it wrong, said it wrong, introduced it wrong. But you know what? She is so sweet. She has forgiven me.
And I have to. I was like, no, we're all good.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So please tell us your real name.
Okay. The name that I was born with, or soon after, is Julia Caton. And some of the people that are watching may know me by Parks because I went back to my maiden name after. I know, that's why I was loving it. And so that's the name I identify with is Caton. Parks was my married name, and my husband passed away about 8 years ago. So I was like, it's time to go back to the maiden name and do some healing work there and leave generational stuff. You clear all of it out. And so that's who I am, that beautiful name, Julia. And let's see. I'm from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. And gosh, I just, I want to say this is what I do, but how about I say this? This is who I am. I am the kind of person that loves to inspire others to face every illusion that they have in their life and cause them to question it, then overcome it, and then become someone new. And so I'm all about let's in the semblance of the Christ death and resurrection, that we take the old you and we're going to move you forward, allow the old to die so that you're born a new person at the end. And that only comes from a place when we understand the power behind vulnerability and owning everything that's ever occurred in our lives. And so I just love diving into life stories. I love working with trauma, and people go, you love that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I know what healing is on the other side of it. I know what it means to be reborn. And I use those words intentionally. From the traumas that had occurred in my life. There is something more beautiful on the other side. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's a light. Let me promise you guys, it is a light. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to pass it on. For anybody who wants any information on me, I'm sure it'll be in there somewhere in that whole dialogue. So
that's awesome. Now, before we get to Christine, I want you to take, and so I didn't tell you guys I was going to do this because this is what I do. I want you to take the letters of your first name and describe yourself. Use the letters of your first name only and describe yourself.
Okay, you want me to start me or
yes.
Christine? Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, my first name. Okay, Julia, absolutely joyous, unique. Oh, I want to say lovable, but I'm going to go with luscious too, because I think that's always a good part, knowing who we are. Identity. Okay. And angelic.
All right. I love it.
Wow.
Thank you. All right. So Christine and Connie, be ready. So Christine, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Okay, so first of all, I wanted to thank you very much, LaQuita, for having me on, and nice to meet you and Julia and Connie as well. And I think I might change my name because my name is awfully long. Let's see, Christine, it might be Chris. No, I'm just teasing. So my name is Christine Jones, and I am currently teaching, and I've been teacher now for 30 years. Just celebrated my 30th year.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I'm on the teacher leadership team. And I also am a mentor to other teachers that are coming into the program, that are like in the master's program. And then I'm also helping out other teachers in other buildings as well. The other thing is that I am getting ready to make a pivot in education. And so I am going to be taking my coaching experience, my leadership experience, and heading into teaching and mentoring other teachers. I'm currently writing a book called Creating Harmony in the Classroom, and I'll be launching that. I also have a program for parents coming up. I'm working on it with another teacher currently, and we should have that ready to launch actually in August and have it all completed in July. So I'm very excited, and I'm also co-authoring in another book for burnout teachers, and I live in the Midwest.
Awesome.
And my name is Christine. So here we go. So It is creative, happy, are, hmm. Oh,
Can
that
we
one has
help?
me stumped. I want to
Can we
say
help?
rich. Okay, I'll just go with rich. Interesting, sweet, um, tea,
Tight.
terrific,
Yeah.
tight, terrific, another I, inspirational, nice, and eccentric.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. I was going to say T for talented as well. Mhm. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Christine.
thank you.
I always like to hear how people describe themselves. Connie, hi.
Yay, it's my turn. Hi, thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm Connie Osterholt. I live in California, in Calabasas, but I'm originally from the Netherlands. That's what you hear in my voice. And for a while, I was going, well, I have to get rid of my accent. And then I decided, it's unique, it's me, I'm keeping it. So that's what you're hearing. And what do I do in life? I call myself a psychological detective. So what I do is find out what is not working. So you described my perfect client, LaQuita, the
Wow.
blah moments. What is
Mm,
not working? And I found out that, there's a distinct difference between success and failure. And
mm,
often how to go from one to the other, there's a clue in your subconscious mind where everything you've ever been through over and over or with emotion is stored. But there's no judge, there's no critic. When a situation looks like that, it immediately get a similar reaction, whether that is appropriate or not, because there's memories when you were 2 or 4 or 16. And now at our age, to react like a 2-year old or a 16-year old is not appropriate.
mm,
Right, so a lot of the answers I find in bringing in a subconscious mind, bringing that to the surface, see if you want to keep it or if you want to change it. And
mm,
I stumbled on this quote. It's not my quote, it's from Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you call it fate. So I'm helping people to make the unconscious conscious so you can decide whether you want to keep that in your life or if you want to upgrade. So all the Black people coming up, I work at it for 30 years, 30 some years. I got really, really good at my skill. I also have a PhD in a modern form of psychology that is combining the mind and the soul and the body and the spirit. So it's not just going in from one angle, but it's going in from all angles. And like you, Lakita, I can keep on talking. So cut me off when you need to.
I'm like I'm sucked in. I'm like, wait, tell me more. So
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. We'll get more into that in just a moment. But give
yeah.
me describe
My
yourself using
name,
your name.
right? I was stalling because I had some challenges there with my name.
Well
I
done,
came,
well done.
And change
it's
your name
like,
too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was hovering between caring and curious. So I want to combine that. So
Okay,
how would that be? Yeah, curious, right?
curious.
And then, and then the O would be, oh my gosh. Yeah, but that's not what I wanted to say. What would my O be? I had something. What is the O? Um, oh,
How
I
about
think I need.
outstanding?
Yeah. How
Out,
about what?
outstanding.
Outstanding. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can go with that. Thank you very much.
Or
And then
original.
or
Yes,
original. I
definitely
think I like
original.
that more. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then the N is I look outside the box always because the solutions are not being found in the box, they found
Hmm.
outside of the box. And when you're
Hmm.
in the box, you don't know you can get out of the box. So my first N is knowledgeable. I know it's not right, but it sounds like it
Hey,
starts with an
right.
N, right?
Word.
Hey, where'd that
Yeah.
cake come from?
And then my second my second N would be notorious in a good way.
Mhm.
And then the I would be, I come up with two for some and blank on others. Irresistible. And then the E would be elegant.
All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love to do that exercise, especially for people who have trouble describing who they are. And it makes them think. It makes one think. And I know you ladies
Yeah,
hit on the hammer, but I do mentoring programs, and I encourage my young people to love themselves from the inside out. And sometimes it means taking a look at yourself and describing yourself the way you see you, not the way others see you. Because if I tell you you're beautiful and you don't believe you're beautiful, you're not going to think you're beautiful. But if
yeah,
you look in the mirror and you see beautiful, I can't tell you that you're not beautiful. So,
exactly. Yeah.
so
So, Lakita, we
yes.
have a challenge for you. Can you
Uh-oh.
do that for us?
Okay. Okay, LaQuita, L, I love lovely. So I have two myself, lovely and love. I love love. Absolutely love love. My A would be amazing. Q, I always struggle with Q. Q would be, I'm like you, that C instead of curious, it would be Q.
Yeah.
Um, our queen,
Yeah.
you would be unique, definitely unique. I intelligent. T, I'm gonna do a cross talkative because I am talkative, but I'm also talented. A, I would say I am just as awesome as I am amazing. So that was a trick. Hey Tilda, how you doing? Good afternoon. So let's talk about my 2 cents. So my 2 cents is amazing um, compilation, and it's put together by Mr. Lee Warson. I probably pronounced her name incorrectly
Yes.
too. Right. Mr. Lee, I love you. She knows I'm good. I'm how absolutely bad names. Mr. Lee was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and her internet would not allow her to be great. She would she we and I think I had another guest on too. Chanel was on too, and Chanel's internet was kind of going in and out too. So it would just not let them be great. So we got to have Mr. Lee come back on again. But Mr. Lee is compiler of my 2 cents on self care. So I want to know what made you say yes to her. What made you say yes to my 2 cents? And I know my 2 cents is okay. This is, I usually say, well, that's it's my story and I'm sticking to it. So when I hear my 2 cents, it's like this is just my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. This is just my thoughts. These are my opinions. It doesn't mean that it's right. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just my thoughts and my opinions. So what made you say yes to my 2 cents?
It's like a couple of things. I mean, the subject, of course, self love, because what is that, right? Nobody really knows what it is. We know we need to have it, but how to get there is like something else. But what I love most, I love writing, but a book is daunting. I did too, but I love writing a chapter. And I love having a multi perspective view from all the other authors. So you
Mhm.
can pick and choose what speaks to you, one from here, one from there, or one completely, or the other one, not maybe my style. So that is what I know Misty for a while, and I know how awesome she is in organizing and all of that. So my 2 cents is also not the 2 cents about self love, but my 2 cents in bringing the topic self love out in the world.
Oh,
That's
I
what
love it.
attracted me.
I love that. So what's your title for
My
what's
title, oh, my title is a funny one. My title is An Alien with Extraordinary Abilities.
Woo. Now
So
that
I can,
now that's wait, now if you did you guys hear that? An alien with extraordinary abilities. I love that. I love that.
so it's actually my visa status. So I came into America on a visa, and that's my visa status. So I'm officially listed as an alien with extraordinary abilities. So On the one hand, I kind of like it because it sets me apart.
Yeah.
And it breeds on how I felt my whole life as being different. Am I born in the right family? Do I go to the right school with my friends? With everything. I didn't fit in. I felt I didn't fit in, right? So I was different. Now I know why I'm different, because I'm an alien. But it's like coming from feeling so different, then it's hard to love yourself because you don't fit the norm. You don't fit the mold. So I had to do several steps and do some good years on me to finally find what I can do to fully love myself. I think I always appreciated myself, but not fully loved myself. So I came up with a couple of steps how to go from, I'm not sure if I'm completely there, to fully love yourself.
Oh, I love that. Your title just reminded me, I am working on an anthology for children, and it's called My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me. So I did a children's book called My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me for children. And
Yeah.
now I'm doing an anthology, and young people are submitting their stories for this
Nice.
anthology on how they don't look like their neighbor. And there's a young, and his mom usually listens in. Her name is Jackie. Jackie's son, his name is Marvis. He and his dad wrote together. Marvis, I think, is 6. And Marvis's story is called My Superpowers Are Not Weird. And he has autism. And and it's a beautiful story. So your title reminded me, hey, Lachelle, that's my coach, y'all. That's my coach.
Hi. Hi, Lachelle.
And look, I published Lachelle's first book.
Oh,
Her
awesome.
solo project.
Yeah.
Lachelle is that's her picture there. She is amazing. She is awesome. Awesome. So I love that. I love that. I'm looking forward. If I were not a part of the book, I would be buying the book just to read your story.
Thank you. Yeah.
Julia, what made you say yes to my 2 cents?
Okay. And I want to go ahead and give this. It's Wriston. And how you remember it is just think about your wrist.
Wriston.
Wriston. Yes.
Wriston.
There's the visual for you. She had to do it to me too. Honestly, this makes the 3rd anthology that I've had the opportunity and privilege to be a part of with Mr. Lee. And I said yes to this one kind of I'm going to say on purpose, but a little bit not. I called her up and I said, I had just gone through a breakup, and I said, hey, I need a little bit of time on your property. She has this primitive skills cabin out there. And I said, I need 30 days for an emotional reset. Mm-hmm. And she, being who she is, said, come on out. And when I went out there, I went through an entire process of breaking addictions that I didn't even know I had. Wow. And which is so funny, not in the non-ha-ha way, and where I was confronted with everything that was showing up. It was, we hear the title, The Dark Night of the Soul. It was deeper than that. Wow. And so 2 weeks into the process of being out there on the property, I wrote my first chapter. I'm actually in there twice. And the first chapter is actually called Just for Today. And it is that initial first moment where I'm just recognizing that I'm going to put my makeup on right now. I'm going to roll over and say good morning to myself. I'm going to take a deep breath and offer gratitude with no other expectation, whatever that, just for this moment, just for today, positives, negatives, however people want to view it, all of that. And then an amazing thing happened on day 14, where it's all in the chapter, but there's a second chapter called The Illusions of Comfort, a soul's journey, or Death of the Soul. Actually, I think it's called Death of the Soul. And whatever title I went with. Now, I think we've changed it a couple of times, but the story has remained the same because it is a story of overcoming everything that I thought I knew 24 hours before. Wow. And it is extraordinary. So why did I say yes? Because Mr. Lee is Mr. Lee. First of all, she just is who she is. And anyone that knows her, you grow from her. Being in her presence, and especially around her countertop, there's magic that really does happen there. The other part is because I know within me that I was afraid to write. And I love what Connie said, that there is a book, a large book, it's a kind of a daunting task, but a chapter or two, that is doable. But now that I've done this 3 times, I actually went to Misty and I said, okay, I've now done this 3 times. It's time to write the book and quit being scared of that thing. I go towards the thing I'm afraid of and just go towards it. So yeah, that's why I said yes. And I would say yes again and again and again and again. It's the anthologies are powerful because of the perspectives.
Yes, I love that. I love that. You know, I was talking to Mr. Lee, and you can start just having a quick conversation. It's going to be a quick conversation, and before you know it, you're all, and it's like, hey, wait, this was we were, and she and I were both like, okay, so I'm going to say this one last thing, and then I'm going to let you go, or just one more thing, and it's like one more thing, and it's like every one last thing is so filled with, wait a minute, I need to know more. I need to know more. So, the conversations are beautiful conversations. So she's such a beautiful person. And I love it. I keep telling her I'm going to come visit. So I'm going to try and set it up and go and visit. So, cause it's beautiful. I've seen the pictures. I'm like, okay, I need to come for a retreat and stay a while. So she was like, come and stay a week. Yes. Stay however long you want to. It's like, okay, I'm working my way up to there. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're so welcome.
Christine, how are you? Tell us about why you said yes to my 2 cents.
I said yes to my 2 cents because my philosophy is to say yes and. So if you're given an opportunity, you take that opportunity and you run with it. You do the best that you can with it. The other thing is that I was asked by Nicole, and Nicole and I are very close. She's the one that did all of the graphics. And then she started to pull in the creative group. And so there's a group of us that are also networking together. So that was also made it extra special. The title of my chapter is called My Sweet Struggle. So the reason why I called it that is because I came from a very difficult place. I was just getting a divorce, and I thought everything was it wasn't good. I thought I hit rock bottom. And after that, because I don't believe in a divorce, that's just not what I believe in, but I was the one that filed for the divorce that I didn't believe in having. So I decided that I needed to pull myself up from my bootstraps and pull myself together. My stepfather had just recently passed away. My son had mental health issues and had to go away for a time period. And my whole family, it just shattered. So I had to pick up those pieces and be a person that I respected and admired. And so I started doing hard things. I challenged myself physically to get all of that stress out. And also, when you can see, like when you're painting and you're tearing out carpeting, those are things that you can see, and then you can be proud of your accomplishments. So that's what I did. And I was like, I need to get money. So I opened up a bed and breakfast because I didn't want to exchange time for money. And I was like, gosh, I need to spend time with my children. My daughter's on the autism spectrum. And she had therapies. I didn't have extra time. I needed to be present. So I was present, and I could stay in our house, and had the guest in, and I absolutely loved it. Something I like to continue to do in the future. So that is why I did it, and also to help other people that are going through these types of struggles, that they can do it. It looks bleak, it looks hopeless, but there is a way out.
I love that. I love that. My sweet struggle, you said?
Mhm.
My sweet struggle. I like that. And absolutely, Lachelle, yes, we can go together. We need to rally up a whole crew and go to Mr. Lee's place and just just detox and rejuvenate and decompress and all of that, so we can come back better human beings.
I promise that you will. It is extraordinary to get out there and get barefoot and be on, on the water and just be away from everything for just a little bit. It's magical.
I love that. I love that. Christine, so I like one of the things that I like that you said. I have a bonus. I call her my bonus daughter. She has a 8-year-old who is on the autism spectrum. And I know it's a lot. It's a lot. And I like that you said I don't have extra time. And that's important. And I love that because sometimes we go through so much and we need more finances, we need more, and then we overcompensate because we need it, but we don't have enough time. We don't have any more time, but we start piling on different things and we still don't have time, and then it creates a whole world of trouble for us. So I like that, and it is a great reminder that that's all a part of self-care. So if my time is not my own, and I don't have enough time to carve out some time for me to breathe, then I'm going to spiral eventually. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but I'm going to eventually spiral. So I love that. I really do. I like that. Somebody's sitting saying, I need to do this, I need to do that. How am I going to do it? I don't have enough time. So you show that you can create things without having to use more time that you don't have. So I like that. I said yes when Mr. Lee asked me. I said yes too because Mr. Lee asked me.
Yes.
And I was thinking, and at first I wasn't going to, and I was like, I have so much going on. It's just so much going on. I don't have time to write. And she was like, I know you have things written. Of course I do, because I'm a publisher and I write and I coach people, and so I coach people, Julia, for that whole book. They're writing their whole story. So so I coach them into writing their story, and their story can be in the form of a it can be a memoir, it can be their autobiography, it can be in the form of a cookbook. It's getting the story out, however that looks like, whatever that looks like for you to start the healing process, to refocus your mind away from something that you don't need to be, that's not benefiting you, to something else. So we work on the whole story. But when I said yes, the title of my chapter is called My Journey to Self-Love. And it's been a long journey, because I was a little crippled child. I'm the victim of medical childhood trauma at the hands of a nurse. So when I was 4 years old, I went into the hospital to have my tonsils removed at Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Part of me saying yes to myself and loving myself and self-love is naming the hospital that was responsible. I did not do that. I just started saying the name of the hospital this January. So for 48 years, I never said the name of the hospital. And it's freeing. It's freeing because they were responsible. And some days when I feel like, okay, it's not going anywhere. I talked to my uncle yesterday, and my uncle said, don't stop. Don't give up, because they were responsible. You may be my age. My uncle's about 70. You may be my age before you even see something, but don't give up. Don't give up. And that was a great reminder. So I grew up with, one leg is deformed, one leg is bigger than the other. I've had 15 surgeries on my right leg and foot, had a bone removed. I had skin grafts. It's just a spiral. So I was picked out to be picked on. I was the first Forrest Gump. I had the braces on that clicked and clacked when I walked. I couldn't run and play like the other kids. If I would fall, I would break my ankle. My mom wouldn't let me go outside when it was raining. So all of those things was my life. And so I didn't know what it was like to love myself, because I didn't like who I was. I was a crippled child. I didn't want to be seen. I wanted to cower down. I didn't want anybody looking at me. So I was more interested in other people's happiness than I was my own. It was more important that they smiled, and I even told myself, as long as they're happy, I'm happy. Well, that was a lie that I told myself. Who wants to watch other people happy and they're not happy? It's not real. It's not real. Why can't we all be happy? Why can't we all be happy? And that became my life. So I learned to take the mirror. I call it mirror conversations.
Yes.
I learned to take the mirror, and I have a mirror that sits here, and learn to look at myself. And so, not look at my skin, not look at whether my hair looks okay or my teeth are okay, but look and see the person that's inside. So I look to see the person that God sees. And learning to love myself was important, because if I didn't love me, then I was okay with how people treated me. And when we don't love ourselves, we're saying, you know what, give me the crumbs off the table, give me the scraps. And we allow people to treat us any kind of way because we don't treat ourselves well. So I took a journey and learned how to love myself from the inside out. And I started with a 3-word affirmation: I love myself. I love myself. I wrote a book of affirmations, and it's called Beauty Redefined, Affirmations of Beauty Redefined. And every day I try and tell myself I love myself. So that's my story. And I too, Connie, have tips on how to love yourself. And I created these for my teenagers, my girls group. And it simply says the first step in loving yourself is to start. Set goals, think positively, accept responsibility for your own thoughts, feelings, and actions, retrain your thinking, how you see things, and take small steps one at a time. So I love the topic, and it was a reminder, because some days you just don't feel like loving yourself. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here on the power of your story and say that every day everything is right with the world and everything is amazing. I'm not going to say that. But I am going to say is, when I have those days when I don't feel like I'm loving myself, I have an amazing support system, and they
Right.
remind me, girl, you better get up and quit whining.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
children, mama, what are you doing? LaQuita, my daughters, LaQuita, what are you doing? So that's I love that when you have, and so many people don't have that. They don't have that support circle. They
Yeah.
don't get around. They don't do that. They're around people who are saying, well, it's okay, the pity parties. So I learned that it's okay. I have a pity party now. I learned that it is okay to have a pity party. Just don't stay at the party too long. And I have to be
Exactly.
careful, right? Because they love me at the party. They absolutely love me at the party. And so
Yeah.
I can't go often, because I'm like, look, I'm not going to your party today, but it's okay to have one. Just don't stay at the party too long. So
Yeah.
that's why I say
Absolutely.
yes. So what are some of the tips, Connie, that you can share on what you do to love yourself?
Well, first off, what an amazing story, and well done, LaQuita. Amazing, beautiful, well
Thank
done.
you.
And we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, and all the good and the bad and the ugly. It's all in there, right? And some start young, and some get it, but they're a little bit older. But we all go through stuff, through shit, if I may say so. And it's how you deal with it, right? So I have an average youth, and but my mom installed in me that if you have any energy or love or something or acts of service to give, you have to give it to others. And
Yeah.
just in case if there's something left, you can use it for yourself. And of course there was never anything left for yourself, right? It all went outward. And hey, you reminded me of that. So then you are teaching the people around you that you're not important, and that you only give, and they expect you to give, and at some point they even like you to give it. They just expect it. It's the norm, right? So you have
Mhm,
to
mhm,
change your conditioning. And in changing the conditioning, I found out that I had to start respecting myself.
mhm,
Not the ability to give, and then some, and then run on empty and still wanting to give, but I had to respect myself. And
mhm,
in
mhm,
respecting yourself, you have to set your boundaries, and it's okay to say no. You
mm,
don't always have to behave according to the demands of other people, and most of the time they were demands, right? So respect yourself and
well, let me
honor
write that
yourself.
down. I'm a note taker. So listen,
Yeah,
listen, those of you who know me, get your pens and your paper out because
yeah.
these women are spilling some wise nuggets. I like that. I like that.
So respect yourself enough that yes, it's important for you to take care of yourself, to have some downtime, to not only, and one of the goals for me is literally to have downtime, to do nothing if I choose to. And that's okay. And for a long time in my life, it was not okay to do nothing. I always had to do something, right? So respect yourself, set your boundaries, set your goals clearly in every area of your life, and make sure that it's getting into a balance that works for you. So that's one. And the second is honoring myself. So I honor myself when I eat healthy. I honor myself when I exercise. I honor myself when I once in a blue moon have a spa day. And, and I honor myself when I read like a silly book and not only a book that is bettering myself or, bettering my business. So honoring myself that I need more than being goal oriented and goals driven. I need to find a balance that works for me in taking care of me and taking care in every area in my life, including relationships. But I'm here to be of service, but I refuse to be a servant to other people.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
Does that,
Okay, that's the end of the show. All right. That was the end of the show. Good night,
We should have
everybody.
ended it, right?
I love that. I love that. I'm to serve. I'm not a servant to others. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. Those are some gems. Listen, if you're just tuning in to the power of your story, I have some amazing, amazing women who are contributing their thoughts on my 2 cents on self love into the fabulous book. It is due to launch on July 7th. And listen, they are spilling some nuggets. So if you're just coming on the power of your story, you're going to have to catch the replay. Okay. Catch the replay and of course we're going to tell you how to connect with these women, but I love that. I love that. That was a gem for me. That was one
thank
for
you.
me right there, especially the set boundaries. I'm still working on that part. I'm getting there. And you said something, Connie, because when you give, people expect for you to give. So I used to be a victim, and when you're a victim, treat you as the victim.
Yep.
And I had a victim mentality. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a bona fide victim. I was the victim when the nurse jabbed me in my thigh with a needle that poisoned the bone in my leg. I was a victim when I was born to a teenage mother who already had a child and had another child after me. I was a victim. We were born, there were 10 people in our household in a two-bedroom apartment. I mean, a two-bedroom house. So I was weak. Every single thing before the nurse jabbed the thigh in my needle, jabbed the needle in my thigh. Everything that happened before then, I could have been a victim, born into poverty, born to a teenage mother who didn't have a high school diploma. I can go on and on and on. And then there was the needle, there was the jab that has
Yeah.
affected my life for my entire life. So I was a victim. I didn't want to be seen. I was picked out to be picked on. So I was a victim. And so, but I got tired of being the victim because I'm more than that. I got tired of people treating me as if I were a victim. And so when people treat you, they treat you, they treat you worse than the people that they dislike. They treat you like, oh, poor thing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and like you can't do any better. So when you behave like a victim, people treat you like a victim.
that's right.
So I've decided to change that. I am
Nice.
nobody's victim. I don't want to be treated like a victim because there's more to me than what happened to me. That's a part of
Yeah.
who I am. That's my life. But I have a voice, and when I learned how to use my voice and learn how to not let people take advantage of me. And you're right, Connie, when you start changing people, well, what's wrong with you? You have an attitude. You become
I know,
unlikable
right?
to them
Yeah.
because they're used to that victim.
Yeah.
They're used
Yeah.
to you being the doormat. They're used to pushing you from one side to the other. And when you say no, that no destroys them because they're not used to you saying no. So
Exactly.
I absolutely love that. And I'm still learning in some ways, but I am not where I used to be. And I'm okay. Sometimes my no would keep me up at night. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my
Yeah. Yeah.
no longer keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
try and find a way to say yes if it is
Yeah.
convenient. If it's a convenient yes. So I
Absolutely.
absolutely love that. I love that.
Thank you. And I think
Love it.
that the big difference, the big step you made is, as a victim, you're powerless. You don't have any power. And
Mm-hmm.
when you find your voice, you find your power, you find your strength, you find your courage. So
I
that
love
is
it.
the big switch you made. So bravo. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
love it. So Julia, you said you went through a breakup.
Yes.
And we've all been there. Oh, went through a breakup, and then you were like, "Hey, I need to come, and I need some time so that I can cleanse all of this out." So, how were you when how was it? How were you when you went day one? When you went to Mr. Lee's land of cleansing, how were you? What were you? Where were you when that day? And then describe the you that left 30 days later.
Okay, well, I when I called her, I showed up on that property. It wasn't just, I will say this, I went to her the typical old Julia style, which was just tell me what to do. I'll do it. I'll get it done, and I'll have it done in 3 days, and we'll be done. Okay, we'll be good. Just give me the rules. I'll follow the rules and get it done. And I went to her for one type, reset emotionally. I had, I have my grad degree, I have my experiences, I have a huge knowledge base. So I really thought I can do this and I can do it on my own. Okay. And so when I went out there, if it would have just been the brutality of the breakup, and when I say I'm not talking about the boyfriend, I'm talking about the beautiful brutalness, and I use those two words together because it's never just one or the other.
Mhm.
The rawness of a lifetime, even though I'd done so much work. Okay, we're talking from age 2, well, birth not wanted by my mom, to sexual child abuse starting at age 2 that went through 14, multiple perpetrators, to being groomed and married at 14 and living every single day with how am I going to live today, to finally escaping. And I'm just kind of giving the gist because here we can connect, but I don't like trauma, bonding.
Right, right.
And so going through this process, eventually after I escaped, meeting a wonderful man, and we had 5 kids together that we would spend so many hospital visits in the hospital that they were like, we're going to name a ward after you at this point.
Mhm.
And then eventually losing him, 13 years of law enforcement, and then about 5.5 years ago, having a stroke, and going through that whole process. And each step of the way where I had to relearn something new, and after the stroke, learn pretty much everything. There was even though I thought I had done my own work, so much of my own work, here I show up at her property with, I need an emotional reset, which is all beautiful because it's all about self-love, right?
Right.
And what I didn't realize is that when I say there were addictions I didn't know I had. I didn't know I was addicted to serving to the point that I ran out of my own steam. I was addicted to giving to others to the point that I had nothing left because they were more important than I was. And their joy, their happiness, their comfort. I mean, you could call me and I'm and I'm going to be right there. I'm your girl. I got, kind of thing. When I hit day 13, I'll just share the story because it really is amazing, if this is okay. I went to Misty, and the typical Julia style, the old Julia style, I just walked into her space and I said, I just need a hug. Can you just hold me just for a minute and listen to how I'm hurting? Here is my pain. Hold a space for my pain, because that's what I did for everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. And Misty, and I say Misty Lee, did something that was one of the most impactful moments of my life. And I'm paraphrasing big time, but she looked at me, she goes, Julia, I love you. You've come into my space. You've come into my space. You're asking me to hold a pain and get out of my own alignment. I'm going to walk you to the door. You've got 10 acres to explore here. And as she's walking me to the door, she goes, I will not hug you. I do love you. Go figure your stuff out. And the exact words that she used, and she closed the door behind me. I discovered in that moment how addicted I was to being affirmed, how addicted I was to sharing the story. How addicted I was to being held in accepted, in this trauma bonding experience. And I walked over to my cabin and I collapsed on the floor, just absolutely in tears. And I didn't get off that floor all night long. And I met every aspect, every story, every belief, every condition, every thought, idea, you name it, it all showed up that night. And it all had a name. Everything had a name. And eventually I fell asleep. And the next morning when I woke up, I truly do know that I met God in that moment. That night, I met God. And I'm not talking about from a religious standpoint. I'm not talking about, and I think probably most of us are Christians here. I'm talking about I met God. I was willing to let everything die in order to face what was right there with me. And when I woke up the next morning, I wish there's no English words that describe it, but immediately light was around me and I had clarity of thought. I went to the dry erase board and I'm just all these downloads, And that moment, I will tell you, was the day that my life changed. When I woke up that morning, this Jill you see in front of me with the confidence and the love, I set boundaries for myself. I tell, my two greatest resources when it comes to self-love is protecting my time and my space. If I need to tell somebody no, I do. And the largest gift that I received in that moment in self-love is that if, I tell people now, if you have a full cup here, I just love this analogy here. Hopefully I won't spill it on myself. I was giving when my bottle was this full. Okay. My inner bottle. I would give when it was this full. I would give when it was this full. And I would even get my top, my glass completely full and have that to give, but it always left me depleted. There was something that was running out. Okay. Now, the new Julia, I don't give anything, even if it's at the top, until it's the overflow. None of this is mine to give. Only the overflow is mine to share. So if I have overflow, I'm going to willingly give it because I've already given it to myself. Okay.
Wow.
And those were the lessons. That was just one of the many lessons that I had to learn on the mountain. And I tell people, just in the scriptures, it talks about the various Moses and so, different religious leaders going to the mountain. There is a reason they went to the mountain.
Yes, absolutely.
And why they needed to be secluded and why it was a talk between them and their higher power or God or source, whatever people choose to title that for them. And that night, I learned who I was in absolute 100% value, how I was seen by my higher power and how I seen my higher power. There was no separation. And so it was beautiful. And so at the end of the day, self-love, that's what it's about. It's not about, I would love to say this is nurturing, getting my nails done, getting my hair done. But self-love is that kind of work. It's where we're willing to go in and completely decompose and break down everything that we think we know, have been told or conditioned to believe, and letting it die by the wayside. And
I love that. I love that. Wow. Listen, you guys look for my 2 cents when it comes out. And Christine, we didn't forget about you. Give us some tips on your self-love. Give us and I know you have a child with autism. What's your self-love routine? What do you do for you with everything going on? And a teacher, 30 years. What's going on? Our time runs out so fast. So you have about 4 minutes you have the floor for the next 4 minutes.
All right. So I think for me to be able to keep my cup full, I have to prioritize myself first. And so I take a look at my schedule to see how much I'm overscheduling, and make sure that I am not scheduling so much that I feel overwhelmed. Like my daughter wanted to see me, and I said she needed me, and I said I'll be over there in the evening because that's when I had time. It wasn't because I didn't want to see her. I love her, so I went over there in the evening when my schedule was more free, when I wasn't so rushed, and I was able to be more present. And so I take a look at those things. The first thing that I do in the morning is I wake up with gratitude. Now, sometimes I wake up and I don't have it. So I keep on fixing my mindset. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I have this. And I'm like, wait, stop. That's not going to help you. I'm grateful for, and then I put just sit up, and I'm grateful for, being able to breathe, putting my feet on the floor. Sometimes it's that. Because my husband also has stage 4 cancer. So I'm a caregiver. I don't really want to say that, but I'm starting to take him to appointments. I got to admit, I am a caregiver. My daughter's 26. She doesn't live here, but I still am a caregiver because I'm a legal guardian. I also work, and I'm also, doing getting ready for a second career. So I have to make sure that I protect my boundaries to make sure that I'm there for myself and for my friends and family. And I got real sick. So this hit me pretty hard back in December. I ended up getting COVID,
Mm.
and uh, my mom ended up going into the hospital that like the day after I got COVID. My husband was in Chicago and I could not go with him because I started to get sick and I was worried that I was getting sick, and he was getting checked for his cancer stuff. He came back, and my dad said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I'm fine. I've got this." And he knew that I wasn't. He went from Detroit down to help me. Had it not been for him, I probably would have been in the hospital, and there has been nobody to take care of me. So I wasn't there for my mom. I wasn't there, for myself. I wasn't there for my husband. So I realized at that moment, or for my daughter, she needed me for appointments, and that I'm it. I'm it for myself and for a lot of my family members.
Wow. Wow. You know, I it's self-love and my tongue's tied, right? We have a couple of minutes before it's time to go, and now my tongue's tied. Um, Everything that we do starts with a thought. Everything, if we want to make a change, it has to start with a thought. I want to make a change. If I'm hungry, I can sit here all day long. Nobody's going to bring me food because I live here by myself. Now, if my children were here, I could say, hey, can somebody bring me food? But that's just not going to happen because I'm here by myself. So I have to do something. I have to make up in my mind to do something. And when we love ourselves, when we determine that we are it, I have to take care of me. I said this to a friend yesterday. You have to take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, then who's going to take care of everybody else? And what you just said, Christine, is such a reminder, a bold reminder for me, because, and Connie, you said it, and Julia, you said it. We are usually last on the list. And it should not be that way. And loving yourself does not mean you're selfish. It is not selfish to love yourself. If I don't love me, then nobody else is going to love me.
Boom.
Nobody else is going to love me, and nobody's going to love me the way that I love me, or the way that I want to be loved. So I have to love me. And with self-love, it is okay. So I have these three amazing women plus me who are giving you permission to love yourself. And Connie is saying okay. Christine is saying it's okay. Julia is saying it's okay. And LaQuita Parks is saying it's okay. So, ladies, it has been such a pleasure. Christine, and you guys are all on social media and Facebook. So, listen, we're running out of time, but Christine, tell people how they can connect with you. We have like less than a minute.
Okay, they can connect with me on LinkedIn as well as Facebook, and Be Uniquely You
Awesome.
on
And
Facebook.
Julia. Okay.
Facebook, LinkedIn, and also 918coach.com.
Yes. And Connie.
Social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Dr. Connie Online, oneword.com.
Awesome. And listen, if you have a story, and I know that you do, because 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, reach out to me no matter where you are in your story writing journey. I can help you take your story from a thought to a realization. Listen, this has been a plump, pleasing pleasure, better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So if you need to connect to any one of these ladies, you can also connect to me, and I can connect you to them. Ladies, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I have absolutely loved this. I'm going to have each of you back on the show. And listen, I'm looking forward to seeing your stories in my 2 cents on self-love. Until next time, guys, be good. Love yourselves from the inside out. And until next week, have a good night.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.